Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Hydro. Now in today's video, man, we're going to be going over the asked question that I get so many times, man. Hydro, how do you control your recoil so well? Are you using a Cronus? No, because there's one simple thing that everybody who calls people out for using a Cronus doesn't understand, and that's FOV. We're going to be talking about that in this video, but there are some other tips that I can give for people who are on console and don't have the FOV option that I'm going to show you guys, which is on PC. Before we jump into everything you guys are going to need to know for this video, be sure to hit the like button, man, because we're going to be going pretty in depth on what you guys need to know as far as console and PC goes. We're going to be going over everything along those lines. Also, here's a post notification shout out up on the screen. If you guys do want to win one in a future video, please be sure to hit the sub button with the noti bell turned on. And once you guys are finished, comment down below #bellgame. So real briefly, we're going to be going over my controller settings real quick. So my dead zone is a 0.03, horizontal and vertical is a 6.6, and my ADS, which is what you guys are going to want to pay attention to, is a 0.85 right here. This really helps when pinpointing your accuracy, and this helped me a lot, man. I used to have my ADS at a 1, obviously, which is what comes default. Lowering it down to a 0.85, I think I went to a 9 first, then a 0.85. Bro, it made my aim so much better. I felt so much more comfortable in playing like this. And as far as my controller setup goes, I have ran this Control Freak right here on my right stick for the longest time now, man. The other day, I was trying some different lengths with some Control Freaks. I tried the shorter one to see if it would help my problem with panic knifing, and through midday, I realized, bro, why is my aim so bad today? Am I just like trash now, or am I doing something wrong? And I realized that I didn't have my high-rise Control Freak on, so I went back to this, man. And this isn't a paid promotion or anything like that, but I must say, dude, Control Freaks are so good when you want to pinpoint your accuracy and control your recoil, dude. It is actually kind of hard to explain because I've been using these things since like 2014, and to be honest with you, once you get used to something like this, it's very hard to switch it up or try to go back. Now that we got the settings out of the way, we're going to be heading into custom games, and first off, I'm going to give you guys some tips and tricks on how you guys can reduce your recoil as much as possible if you guys were on console. And if you guys are on PC, there is a secret setting that a lot of you guys might not know about, especially for console people. This setting that you guys probably do not know about, and I can guarantee you guys have probably looked at some streamers and thought, why do I have more recoil than them? Well, this is why. So real briefly, I want to go over the difference between 80 FOV and 120 FOV on affected, because for some reason, a lot of people don't understand the difference between those two, and they're just simply not educated on it and how it affects visual recoil. So real quickly, man, as you guys can tell, we are on 120 FOV. This is what the max can go up to. So on general 120 affected FOV, you guys can pretty much tell that we can see the whole map of Shimmin right now. Now, we're going to get back up here real quick, stick drift. We're going to go all the way to affected on 80 FOV, which is default FOV for console. And as you guys can tell, you could probably see just about half of what you were able to see with the 120 setting. Now, the big difference between these two, actually, which is the most important setting in my opinion, is if we go all the way back up to 120, there's one thing that you guys are going to want to tick on. So right now we're on independent, as you guys can tell. And if we go ahead and take out our MP5, it actually zooms it in quite a bit all the way back to 80 FOV. There are some people that use this, but if you want to take advantage of having less visual recoil, then what you're going to want to do is put it over to affected. And what the difference is that it doesn't zoom it in to 80 FOV, excuse me. Okay, it only zooms it in a hair. So right here, we're not ADS. This is on affected. Real quick, we're going to move back to independent, and as you guys can tell, it goes all the way back into independent FOV. Here's a recoil test. This is me just without trying to control it at all. And then we're going to go back onto affected, and here it's the same thing without me controlling it. As you can tell, the iron sight doesn't bounce significantly when you're on the affected setting, and that's the beauty of it. Now, when you're controlling it, obviously, it looks like you have zero recoil, which is why people call everybody out for using a Cronus. Another example that I want to go over is with the AMAX, because the AMAX as well is a very popular gun that people use in Warzone. And everybody's always like, why do you have no recoil on your AMAX? So here we are on 120 affected FOV. This is me controlling the recoil. Looks so clean. Here we go. This is me not controlling the recoil. Obviously, I have a clear bullet pattern right there. And then the difference between the two is we're going to go back on independent 80 FOV, and you guys will be able to see the visual recoil and it bouncing a lot more with the optics. So here is me not controlling it. And within every kind of bullet that shoots, there's more of a bounce within the optic, as you guys can tell. Unfortunately, that's just something that console players have to deal with. I personally don't understand why, but if you're on PC, it's most definitely something to take advantage of. On independent FOV, this is also me controlling it. Obviously, you know, barely any bullet spread because I'm controlling it, but there obviously still is visual recoil. You guys can see the optic bouncing significantly more than it was when you were on 120 affected. So console players, man, if I could give you guys one tip, and I would highly recommend this, I did this when I was on console. Essentially, you're going to want to grab guns that you use the most, such as the AMAX, for example, in Warzone. You're going to want to go to an area and just do a quick recoil pattern test. So this is me without controlling it at all. So when studying the bullet pattern, as you guys can tell, there's basically no variation when it comes to horizontal. It's almost straight vertical up and down. There's almost no left to right sway, kind of like how in other guns where it might like curve up into the right like that, for example. Some guns tend to do that. So when learning recoil control on the AMAX, it's very simple. Just pull down on your right stick, and if you have a control freak, it'll work even better, man. So here we go, check this out. Almost no bullet spread because I'm controlling it. And then here we are once again without me controlling it. Basically straight up and down. So essentially, man, what I'm trying to get at is that whether if you're on console or PC, the recoil is still there. So for my console guys, man, you guys have the same bullet patterns as PC. We're on 120 affected right now, as you guys can tell. We're gonna do another bullet pattern test. And look, there's not as much visual bounce, but the bullet pattern is still there. So PC players still have actual recoil. It's just there's not as much visual recoil with the iron sight and the optic because the affected setting and on top of that 120 FOV reduces that. Now that we've gone over the difference between 80 FOV on independent and 120 FOV on affected, we'll just go ahead and do some gameplay tests. This is me right now on 80 independent. FOV right now, so we're just gonna go around and kill some bots real quick just to give you guys a basically a simple explanation. So if you guys run this MP5 class setup right here, then this is probably what it looks like for you guys when playing up close. And I will say, bro, this hurts my eyes, I can't lie. Boom, just like that. And as you can tell, I have pretty good recoil control right now. And we'll just do a bullet pattern test real quick in here. Boom, just like that. So I've obviously, as you guys can tell, I do have a bullet pattern. This is me controlling it right here. Boom, almost no spread right there. As I said, it's just a difference between visual recoil, because real quickly, we're gonna go ahead and do that. Go over to 120 on affected, and here we go. Look at the difference of the recoil. So big of a difference, and this is why people think you're running so fast when you're on this setting, because it obviously expands your surrounding. So with the reduction in visual recoil when you're on the 120 affected FOV setting, plus the ability to actually control the recoil if you have a control freak stick on, plus lowering your ADS sense a little bit, really does affect your accuracy, and honestly does improve it as a whole, which is what I've seen with a lot of Call of Duty players, especially in Warzone as of recently. Most people either lower down their ADS sense to from anywhere from like a 0.7 to a 9, is a range that I've seen all over the place. So things like that really do help pinpoint your accuracy and make it so you can have as least amount of recoil as possible. We'll just do a really quick recoil test. Let's say somebody was over here on this like wall right here, and I was just trying to beam him and track him. So we'll just go ahead and do a quick recoil test. As you guys could tell, the sight is trying to pull up, but I'm just managing a little bit. And then here's me with no recoil control at all. This is me without my hand on the right stick. So basically, that's where the recoil kicks in. And this is just me controlling it with my thumb right now. As you guys can tell, it's trying to bounce up. Now, that's just managing the bullet pattern. And with 120 affected FOV, it reduces the visual recoil, which makes it seem like there is no recoil at all, which is just totally not the case. So you guys will see that once we go over to independent on 80 FOV, we'll just go ahead and scroll down to it real quick and just do the same thing. You guys will be able to tell that it starts bouncing a lot more. You see that? So obviously with it being a lot closer, it just starts bouncing a lot more. It's almost like shaking. It's kind of like motion blur, I guess you could say. And then once again, here's just me without any recoil control on the right stick. There's actually a guy there, matter of fact. So next up, we'll just do the Mag-10 real quickly, because the Mag-10 is another one of the guns that I use a lot. People are always like, oh, his Mag-10 doesn't move at all and stuff like that. So we'll just real quickly do a recoil test with me actually controlling the recoil on 80 independent FOV. And as you guys can tell, the iron sight as a whole just kind of bounces up and down and across a lot more. And that is horizontal recoil, and basically without the 120 affected, it doesn't reduce the visual recoil at all. So you're not going to get that kind of, I guess, look of no recoil. And we have one last mag right here, so we'll real quickly just do, I guess half the mag will be with me controlling it, and then half of the mag is me without controlling it. So as you guys can tell, half of it is pretty much the game, I guess you could say, when it comes to reducing that visual recoil with the affected 120 FOV setting. It doesn't have to be 120. It can be really anything above 80 on affected, and you're gonna get that the loss of visual recoil, which makes it absolutely amazing. Okay, so one of the other guns that I'd like to demonstrate with this is the MP5, because it's another one of those guns that I used a lot over Warzone's lifespan. And to be honest with you, same type of comments, bro. Hydra, why does your MP5 have no recoil compared to mine? I put on the same attachments and mine has a lot of recoil. Well, first of all, you're probably on console. Once again, for the last time, we'll go ahead and demonstrate the difference between when we're on 120 affected FOV. This is me controlling the recoil. And then this is me without controlling. As you can tell, straight up. And I mean, you could see the bullet pattern literally right there on the building. Controlled, obviously, since it's a bit long range, a little bit dispersed, and then straight up. So that's just kind of how SMGs work at long distances. But now we're gonna go over to 80 FOV on independent and watch how much this one bounces. The MP5 is a good example of this. This is me trying to control it. Look at how much that bounces, bro. And then this is me without controlling it. Once again, straight up bullet pattern. So I mean, that's kind of the difference. With all that being said, man, like in conclusion, bro, no, your famous streamers most likely aren't using a Cronus. Okay, even with 120 affected FOV setting on, it's very easy to tell if somebody is using a Cronus or not. I'm not using a Cronus. Swag has also gotten accused of using it a lot. He's not using it. Nick Merckx has. He's not using it. He's on independent, actually. Nick Merckx is on independent FOV. Joe is another person. He's not using it. Mutex, he's not using it. Your streamers aren't using Cronuses, guys. 99% of people who call people out for using Cronuses are on console and don't have this setting to try it out for themselves, which is why I wanted to kind of educate you guys in this video. If y'all are on PC, man, if you didn't know about this, hopefully this helped you guys out as well. If this helped you guys out in any sort of way, hit the like button, man. Subscribe if you guys are brand new with the noty bell turned on. And with that being said, I will see you guys in the next video. Hope y'all enjoyed. Peace.